Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert with the Ted Show. I have an extremely special guest. You can see the pup. I'm going to let Jason do the introductions, but I'm very excited to have Jason Calabrese on the show. He's got a great story. He's got an offer you can't refuse. That's a good Italian thing to say, right? Because I'm Italian.
Oh, forget about it.
But you've got a great spirit, a great heart. I love your social media. I love what you're doing. And a great journey that you can share. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I saw Terry from Base Camp, and I said I had to reach out to you. I worked with Terry a couple of years ago at the Dr. Phillips Center. I was like, it's timing,
Timing's everything, right? So tell us the name of your pup.
Oh, his name is Jaden, right? He's my VP of my personal training company. Yes, I'm serious. He really is my VP. And he's the greatest thing in my life. I love this boy. I got him at 8 months old at a rescue, and now he's 6. So he's 6 times 7, 42. So me and him are actually the same age.
Oh, you're.
He's cuter.
Make a peep for a small pup. A lot of small dogs. They bark.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. So, Base Camp, of course, I'm on the board. I absolutely love that organization. Base Camp is Children's Cancer Foundation. We just had Terry Jones on the show, of course, but I love that you're involved in that. But you have an amazing history, right? So you've got a great story. We have a TED Show contesty offery thing that we're going to do, which will either be live or afterward. It doesn't matter. You guys should still get involved. But you have pro wrestling, you have fitness, you've got a lot that you've done. So on the TED Show, we love origin stories. So tell us a little bit about that with you.
I'm originally born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I was a professional wrestler under the name Jason Static for about 17 years. And I decided
I didn't know it was that long. So what was your wrestling name?
Jason Static. It was a cup of coffee in the big leagues. It wasn't much, but it is what it is, as my friend Mike Casson would say. But anyway, I moved to Florida in 2009. I came here on a one-way plane ticket. I had nothing, man. I had maybe 2 paychecks in the bank, no checking, no savings, no car. And I got a job working in LA Fitness. And I worked in LA Fitness and went to school at the Team 3D Academy, which was probably one of the top professional wrestling schools in the country, and to pursue my dream. And as I was working in LA Fitness, I was working for them for from 2009 to when the doors closed in the pandemic. And
so have you always been fitness oriented, right?
Yes.
But tell me a little bit, because I didn't know this. There's a wrestling school.
Oh yeah, there's multiple wrestling schools in Florida. The Team 3D Academy is one of the top ones, and if you have a contract, the WWE is right in Winter Park, right near Full Sail University. Orlando's hot for professional wrestling right now because of the whole COVID situation. Everyone's got to be careful of 6 feet, so you can't beat up your opponent too much. Can't get close to him. You got to beat him up from 6 feet, brother.
All right, but I have to ask you: Did you always wrestle? Like, did you wrestle in high school? Did you have aspirations to be a wrestler, or how did you stumble into that?
Childhood. 5 years old. My mom was the one that brought me to all the pro wrestling shows. My dad really didn't like it too much, but he just, was. It is what it is, And then I played high school baseball, and I always had it in the back of my head. I was starting to lift some weights to get bigger for baseball, and I met a couple of buddies in the professional wrestling business, and I said, I was lifting, and I was doing better in bodybuilding than baseball. So it was like these wrestling guys came along and said, hey, why don't you try the wrestling thing? And then I had that little childhood 5-year-old guy who wanted to jump off the top rope and drop elbows, hit people with chairs and all that good stuff. And So
I
why
still
not?
want to do that, to be honest with you, but
Oh, I'm ready for you, brother. I'm ready. I'm ready.
can you
Let's go.
imagine? Can you imagine? I don't want to do it
Oh,
to you, but I would learn from you.
oh,
That could be
oh,
a good show.
you could be a good manager. I could see you being a
I could
manager.
manage for
There
sure.
you go.
So you get into it, and then just because you have a dream as a 5-year-old, that normally doesn't like go to a 17-year career,
Oh
like
yeah,
plus 10
it's
plus
it's
year career. So
it's
how
a
did that work?
journey. It's a journey. You got to pay your dues. You got to, drive in cars, work for hot dogs or $10 or, whatever it is, just to gain, there's a guru named Dr. Tom Pritchard says, he always used to say, get on the job training. And that's what you're doing. You're living your dream, wrestling for $20, getting on the job training, doing what you love in front of the people. They're getting entertained, but you're getting, you're getting the experience and the exposure. And that's what I did. In 1 minute, you could be wrestling for the WWE in a major arena like the Amway Arena, and next week you could be wrestling in the local YMCA. It's a very very crazy journey.
Was that your primary focus during the 17 years, or correct me if the years are wrong? That was your full time. That's what you were focusing on.
Yeah, in my 20s, 30s, it was time. It was time, to that was my biggest dream, was to do that. Working in gyms was the only thing I was pretty good at that helped me, as they say, pay the bills, and that was keeping me afloat as I did the wrestling. As I jumped in the phone booth and came out with my Superman outfit. You know what I mean?
So why did you leave, Jason? What was the impetus behind you leaving to kind of create your next step or your next chapter?
Okay, well, in pro wrestling, it's after a while, like another guy, I always quoting all these people, but a guy named Bully Ray, who's a WWE Hall of Famer, used to say, "You have your cards, man, and when you want to fold, you fold." And I felt like it was time, like, to fold. I was losing passion. If you're not having fun with what you're doing, it was like, why am I in it? So actually, that's when I went to performing arts, and I would just go on. I would go to check out all the local theaters, and I would go to the Winter Garden.
All right, so
I would go to.
before you go into that story, I must
Yeah,
ask,
yeah.
that
Yeah,
is not
please.
a natural transition.
No,
Well,
I'm
most
kind
people
of.
think it is, although I believe both have like performing arts, and then wrestling has a performance art perspective to it if you think about it. But
Yes, it does.
a lot of wrestlers that I've interviewed a lot of pro wrestlers, and that wasn't their natural transition. So it's not, did you just decide that you were interested? Did something happen that got your interest in
Oh,
performing arts?
yeah. I just went on. It was a date night with an ex girl, man, and we went to go to the Garden Theater. My first play I went to go see was
That's
Hands on a Hard Body. Hands on a
nice.
Hard Body. And I fell in love with that theater. I don't know if you've ever been to the Garden Theater before.
I absolutely have.
I
Yeah,
loved that theater. And I
beautiful.
went there, and I remember I saw on the marquee, it said Hands on a Hard Body. And then when I decided to write a play, and I wrote We Don't Play Fight, my own play on professional wrestling, I remember I told my ex-girlfriend, and I think my dad was with me that night because he was visiting from Jersey, and I pointed to the marquee, and I said, I will have my play on that marquee. And it did cost me an extra $100 to get it on the marquee, but I did get it on the marquee.
As you should, my friend. I love it.
And
What did you have writing experience? All right, so we're like, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I love this. So you have the career, and then you decide or you discover performing arts. But that's one thing. But then to write your own play,
yeah.
like I have a writing background, and I'm not sure I can pull that off. So, what was once you had that idea, how did you work through it so it actually became a real play?
So the transition was that I met a playwright named Robert Wynn Anderson, and he's big in the Garden Theater area. He was working in the office over there, and I reached out to him and I said, hey, I got some ideas about some writing. I got some questions about the theater. He met me in the local Starbucks in Dr. Phillips, and I reached out to him, and he goes, hey, come Wednesday night. We're doing some auditions for Singing in the Rain. So I said, okay. So I go there. I'm sitting next to him, and he's judging them, and he's telling me like this person nervous, no good. That person maybe. That person got happy feet. That person I can't understand them. And he goes, hey, he goes, you're a pro wrestler. He goes, there's a play called The Elaborate Entrance of Chad Heaney. It's a play on. He goes, it has pro wrestling in it. He goes, check it out. So I looked on YouTube and I was watching some clips of it, and it showed actors playing wrestlers, and it looked very, very, very phony. So I said to myself, I like to write. Why don't I want to do something that's special. I want to do something that's different. So why don't I write a show that is about pro wrestling, but when it's time to do the body slams and suplexes, let me just bring in the real deal guys. So what I did was I brought in I did auditions. I got a local a gentleman named Jason Skinner. He's very big. He worked at Holy Land. He was my.
Uh-oh. We lost Jason for a minute. There he is.
Well, they don't know that I'm on the TED show. Those they better not call me again. So and I got them, and I said, listen, I says, you take care of the directing, the theater part. I don't know. Here's the story. This is my idea. Work with me. And then I said, I'll bring the pro wrestlers. I recruited the pro wrestlers. So I got 2 locker rooms full of people, or locker room, green room. I learned that the green room was the locker room. I didn't know that. I learned on the fly. And then they both went together, and I did my first show in 2016 at the Orlando Shakespeare Theater. It was a one night only because it was only, it was just sponsors that I knew, and it takes a lot of money to run a show.
Was it your show, or was it part of a Shakespeare thing?
The first show was a one night only rental. It was called CPW, We Don't Play Fight. I believe it was June 4th, 2016.
Good for you.
From there, we hit the Garden Theater. We did Wayne Dench. We were the first pro wrestling show to be at the Orlando Fringe Festival. We ran 5 shows in the Fringe, and we got in there because it was like by accident. It was like we didn't make the draft, but then someone backed out and we got called in. Nice. And the last one in Orlando was at the Dr. Phillips Center because I just wanted to do Dr. Phillips Center because I love that theater. So I didn't do the big one, but I did the small. I did the smaller theater.
Beautiful. Yes, gorgeous.
Alexis and Jim Pugh Theater.
Yes,
and we were there.
Mm-hmm. So it's one thing to again, you are making these. So what you're doing, in my opinion, is you're taking your dream or your thought or your idea, and unlike most people, you're actually implementing it, finding a way to get it done. I have friends that are playwrights that have never seen their work performed, let alone seen it performed at the Dr. Phillips Center or wherever. That is amazing. Why was that important for you to have it performed? Tell me about that, and tell us a little bit about the story.
I wanted to be different. It was like my pro wrestling career was like, oh, it's Jason Static, big whoop-de-doo. But when it came to We Don't Play Fight, that this was actually history. It's never been done before. It got more exposure than my 17 years in the wrestling ring. I was on Fox News, the Orlando Sentinel, David Martin, and it was something special to me to let it blossom out, and it still is. Where I want to do it again in Orlando, and hey, man. The big dream is Broadway, New York City. Why not? So that's different things I want to do.
All right. So tell me about the play. Give us the name again, and then tell us about the play. Did you write the whole thing all by yourself? You had somebody else help you? And
I wrote the whole thing. I wrote the whole thing by myself. It was brainstormed sometimes with again in pro wrestling, but they have it's called a booking committee. And they got a table of guys. It's probably like theater. I'm not a theater guy, but it's got okay, give me your ideas. And that'll work, or that won't work. And, let me have some things. So ideas came from many people throughout the years. The script was also, it's not that's one thing. Like when you come to see Hamilton never changes. It's always the same thing. But as it came for my show, on different aspects, using different people, different locations, we were always flexible. So it's tough to tell you right now the story because it's how can I explain it? It always changes. The script is so flexible. I got like 6 scripts in my head.
So for the script though, it's a story, and is it a personal story, your personal story, or did you make parts
You know
of
what's
it up?
funny? It does have a lot of real life story. I learned in wrestling as well from the guy Bully Ray. I always give Bully Ray credit because he's a great storyteller. He always said, the best story is the real story. And so, like, when you're writing, you take a lot from my childhood memories, and it's not like stuff I'm going to steal that from somewhere. It came from inside me, or it came or around me. So it was real, and I feel it. So yeah, there are many parts of my story from different angles in that story, but I never wanted it to be about, it's about Jason. I was kind of the guy who wanted to stay back and have a very small part on screen, and I was worrying about the big story, not Jason's story.
Love it. All right, so tell me, you've got a wide range of background, my friend. So you've got pro wrestling, now you're performing arts. Tell us about the fitness side. Obviously, it looks like you work out. I don't know, maybe. But tell us a little bit about the fitness side of things.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. And then I want you to share with them about the really cool thing that you want to talk about. I posted it. It's actually on as we're speaking, but maybe you can kind of share with us about, I call it a contest. You can call it whatever you want.
Yeah, man. Long story short, I've been working in gyms since probably 1999. I did every gym job possible, from the front desk guy to the sales guy to personal training. And anyway, when I came to, I'm gonna fast forward all the way to Florida. So I worked for LA Fitness, which I was very grateful for because they gave me an opportunity to make a living while I was pursuing my pro wrestling dream. And unfortunately, like, as we were getting, like in the last couple of years, it just it had a downward spiral where I'm not gonna bury anybody because it's over with. But it's just that there was a lot of politics, a lot of negativity, and I wasn't enjoying my job anymore. That I was trying to help people. I always gave 100% as much as I can, even if I was in not the best spirits. I always give 100% to my clients because that's what they pay for and that's what they deserve. But I just want to tell you, I went through a lot in the negativity part. I got to tell you the negative part to tell you the happy ending. The negative part was, in the end, I was living check to check. I was not even check to check. I was living more overdraft to overdraft. I didn't have, because I was living like that, I couldn't even have a savings account. I had a below average credit score. I was working, I had full-time availability, but I was working legitimately part-time hours. And it was horrible. And when the pandemic came and they said, hey, the gym is closing, and at that time, I looked at my drawer, because we all have drawers, and I looked at it and I says, when these doors open up again, I don't want to come back again. And I closed the door. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine named Mike Gallagher. He hates getting credit. Mike Gallagher, you're getting credit. I can't hear your volume, by the way. I don't know your volume. I don't know. You can hear me? Okay, as long as you can hear me, because we're gonna go sign language with you. So anyway, what happened was, Mike gave me this conversation. He goes, Jay, you're not going back to LA Fitness. And I was like, he goes, you're going to make $1,000 a week. You're going to go independent. And he goes, you're not going back to LA. And I'm like nodding him, but I'm going, he's out of his freaking mind. I'm like, so we're going back and forth, and I'm gaining confidence. I'm getting all the tools. And then, long story short, they're like, hey, I'm collecting an unemployment check. I'm telling all my LA Fitness clients, hey, I'm not coming back. And I was like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm not really coming back. And anybody who wants to join me, come with me. and the other ones who can't. So it's all good. And Labor Day came, or whatever the holiday came before it was going to open up, and manager said, "Hey, you want to open up your schedules in the computer?" I went there. I opened up my drawer. I didn't open up my schedule. I took my 9 uniform shirts and I dumped them in the garbage pail.
Wow.
I cleaned out my drawer, and it was over. And I says, "Good night." And I just closed my drawer, and I was the happiest person ever in Central Florida.
So what was that like? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you for some reason. The connection, I can't hear you at all.
You keep talking then.
You want me to keep on talking? It's all me? All right, Jaden. Look happy for the camera, baby. So long story short, I just started to do my own business. I fell in love with the word reinvented, because reinvented was, that's what I did. I reinvented my life. So from living check to check or overdraft to overdraft, now I have, I built up an establishment to have a decent checking. My below average credit score, I rose at 75 points. So it's above average right now. Full-time availability, part-time hours. I'm kind of working part-time, almost full-time, but the income I'm making now is looking like a full-time going overtime. Things just changed. And savings account, yes, I have one now. And it was kind of embarrassing to say these things in the past, and I don't mind telling them because it's got a great happy ending. And I'm just grateful for all this. And again, sky's the limit, and I just wanted to make things happen.
Can you hear me at all?
I can't hear you.
Check private chat. You can't hear me. So I'm going to go ahead and mute you. So here's what we want to do. I want you to reach out to Jason. I want you to
my mic is muted. How do I unmute my mic? Hold on.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
No, you're not muted. Well, here's what I want everyone to know. Jason.
Hold on, man. I'm sorry.
Jason can be reached on Facebook. Jason can be reached. I tagged him. If you want to get involved, we have a really cool special that he decided to run. I'm going to mute you. And so what we want you to do is do whatever you can. And he's got a great special. I'd love it for you guys to reach out to him. Look at that energy. I have a heart for people from Brooklyn and Staten Island. And I heard him say Jersey, because that's where I'm from, New Jersey. But I would love for you guys to reach out to him. He's got performing arts, wrestling, writing, and fitness. It's such a great combination. And who doesn't love that sweet baby, Jaden, his mixed pup that he rescued. So Jason Calabrese, reinvented during a pandemic. I hope you guys will reach out to him. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back at 4 o'clock to talk about our veterans. Thank you so much, guys. We love you. Talk to you soon.